You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey there, welcome to episode 311 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey gang, it's Sean.
And Leah.
This time it's my turn to be sick.
Yeah, you are not feeling very well.
I'm not.
No.
I'm trying to will it away.
Yeah.
But the aches and the pains and the headache are not making that too easy.
Yeah, it's a bad time. Everybody's getting sick, and it's certainly not COVID. It's just simply the common cold, the flu, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely miserable.
It certainly is, and it's very rare when I get sick. So this sucks.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Big time suckage.
Yep.
But that's not what we're here for, is it?
No, it's not.
We're going to talk about wrestling.
Yeah, which is an odd topic for us.
Very much so.
Well, we're not really going to talk about wrestling. We're going to talk about a movie based on a family from wrestling, but...
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. This past weekend, you said, there's this movie I want to go see.
Yes.
And I said, what movie is that? And you said, it's The Iron Claw. And I'm like, I've never heard of this movie. And I'm usually on top of things.
Yeah.
As our listeners will know from last week, when we did the 10-year anniversary of me podcasting,
Yes.
I started off with the Rusted Robot podcast,
Yes.
which was all about pop culture, movie reviews,
Yeah.
casting news,
Yeah.
trailer reviews,
Absolutely.
all that kind of stuff. And since I stopped that about 3 years ago, I've kind of fallen off the wagon of pop culture a little bit, I guess.
Well, we're not talking Olympic-style wrestling. We're actually talking professional wrestling, which is all kinds of, predetermination and scripts and
It's
learning how to... It's not fake. No, I don't like to use the word fake. I would rather say it's scripted or predetermined is another good way to think about it.
That is another good way to think about it. So before we get into the movie review, why don't we talk a little bit about our history with wrestling in general?
Okay, yeah, that's a great idea.
I guess people know that I have three brothers. Me and Curtis have the same dad, and then younger brother Robin has a different dad who went by the nickname Cannon. And he thought he was a biker, and he thought he was a wrestler, and he did do a bit of a tour with a local outfit here back in the late 80s and early 90s, I believe, and he couldn't really wrestle, but he was a manager, Mr. Cannon. So he did that. And Robin actually won his first match at Sioux Area Wrestling this past weekend.
Right, yes, that's right.
Sergeant Commando is his character name.
Yes.
And he's always the heel or whatever, and he never wins. But I guess he was in a three-man tag team something or other, and he finally won.
Oh, yep, that's right. Yes. 3-way tag. Yep.
So he was very excited about that. So that's good. What I know about wrestling basically is from about 1985 to about 1990. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior,
Sure.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Andre
Yep.
the Giant, the cartoon that Hulk Hogan had, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And you?
Well, from as long as I can remember, my father watches wrestling, professional wrestling, quite a bit. And then when I got with my second husband, he is also very much a wrestling fan. So wrestling was very predominant in my life for a very, very long time. I can honestly say that I watched, Raw was on Mondays. At one point, I think it was SmackDown was on Thursdays. There was all kinds of pay-per-views that were going on. A couple of different wrestling promotions. AEW AEW, I believe it's called. There's also a WCW. There's the WWF. I've met a lot of wrestlers.
You have?
Yes, I have. I met Jake the Snake. I've met Dusty Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, the son of Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes has passed away. So many. I met Scott Hall. I've met, they're called the Young Bucks. I've met Kenny Omega. I've met quite a few, anyway, wrestlers. I've been on the Jericho Cruise. I've met Chris Jericho. He's a very, very nice guy.
Sings with the band Fozzy.
Yes.
Who actually are pretty decent.
Yeah, they are really good. They have some good music. So I've grown up, and I hate to say it, I've grown up around a lot of wrestling-loving men.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, so...
In 2014, when I went to Fan Expo, Hulk Hogan was there.
Nice.
And he was going up the stairs with his entourage, and I took a picture, and it's still in my phone.
Excellent.
So that's as close as I've gotten to any famous wrestlers.
Ah, gotcha, yes.
I do remember going to see No Holds Barred in the Princess Theater.
Okay.
The movie with Hulk Hogan and Zeus.
Yes. I've been to some live shows as well. It was funny. I kept joking that I was going to go to a live event pregnant. So my son Wyatt was actually I was still pregnant with him when he went to his first wrestling show. We went to a SummerSlam in Toronto. I've been around this world for a very, very long time. So I know quite a bit about it. And I know a lot of what sort of goes into creating a wrestling match, and
I imagine you
and
do.
all that. So yeah.
Well, I've still got my LJN Randy the Macho Man Savage action figure
Wow.
that I got in 1985.
Excellent.
Yes.
That's vintage.
It is. It's the all rubber one where they don't move or anything. And later on, kids in the playground used to take them and whip them at people.
Right.
They hurt.
Absolutely.
And now
Absolutely.
they're super collectible.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a big world for a very, very long time. Actually, a lot of people are very much into wrestling. It's a huge deal. Actually, they sell out quite a few arenas, and lots of people. My father, like I said, my ex-husband, of course, all those things. They really, really like that. To me, I find it's a daytime drama, I guess you could say, targeted at different audiences. Of course, there's the good guys and the bad guys, and it always seems to be that's it, and then they fight, and that's about it. Wrestling has changed over the years. I've noticed that it went from a lot of storyline based. Now it's more of a in-ring action. There's not as much drama outside of the ring. It's just more inside.
Right.
But
And like I said, I was only into it for about 5 or 6 years. But then when I went away to university, everybody was into it then too.
Oh, wow.
And we were like in our early 20s back then.
Right.
I'm like, I just didn't care anymore at that point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So it is. It's full of merch.
it is full of merch.
Yeah, it's a world full of merch. There's lots of wrestling merch.
Action figures, wrestling rings, replica belts, T-shirts, yeah, you name it.
Yeah.
CDs.
Yep.
If they still make CDs, I don't know.
Bedding.
Oh yeah, curtains.
Yep.
And Robin has been into it since he was a baby, so he's had all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's even got the Ninja Turtle wrestling crossover action figures.
Okay. Yep. Action figures was a big one for them as well.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They actually even did a little while ago. They're pushing women in wrestling quite a bit. Sort of move them away from being the perfect woman and whatever to actually being an athlete in the ring, competing and that type of thing.
That's right.
They called it the women's movement or the divas movement. But there not as many women of wrestling anymore. If you'd heard of Miss Elizabeth, and
Of course.
so she was more of a woman of wrestling.
And Scary Sherry and that whole drama thing.
Yeah.
Did you watch Glow on Netflix?
I did not, but actually, speaking of like daytime soap operas and stuff like that, a girl who was in one of my favorite soap operas, The Bold and the Beautiful, she was a character on The Bold and the Beautiful, and she went to Glow. She was one of the actresses in that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Her name was, I forget what her name was, like her real life name. She played Hope Logan on The Bold and the Beautiful.
I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you. Was it Alison Brie?
No, I'll have to look it up.
Betty Gilpin?
No.
That's the only two characters I can
Kim
remember.
Matula, I believe, was her name.
No, I don't remember. I just
Yeah.
watched it because it had Mark Maron in it as one of the characters. And Of course,
Okay.
he's my favorite podcaster, so... So, yeah.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't really understand is these are people who are playing a role, and so it is sort of an act, but a lot of times it comes out of the ring, and real life stories that happen to these people are the same as what happens to many people in life. And that's what this movie was really about. It was a family of wrestling, and a lot of times there were many families of wrestling. Calgary, Alberta had, of course, a pretty famous family of wrestling, the Hart Foundation,
Of course.
the Hart
Bret,
family.
the Hitman Hart, and his
Yep.
brother Owen, and
Yep.
all those guys.
And tragedy befell that family as well when Owen Hart passed away. He fell from the
He was the Blue Bomber or something.
the Blue Bomber.
Wasn't that his name? No?
No,
I can't remember.
I believe it was the Blue Blazer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Blue something or other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, before we start talking about tragedy and the movie review, why don't we play a promo for another podcast?
Okay, perfect.
Right here on...
The ESO Network.
Helm reports.
Sir, there's Klingons on the starboard bow.
Starboard bow.
Starboard bow!
What are they doing there?
They seem to be waiting for the new episode of Earth Station Trek.
Science. What do we know about this Earth Station Trek?
It's a podcast that treks through the history of Star Trek, from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between.
Navigation. How would one find such a podcast?
By setting coordinates for earthstationtrek.com or by doing a sensor sweep of Spotify, iTunes, or any other quadrant where fine podcasts are available.
Captain, what are we gonna do about the Klingons?
We come in peace, Commander. Weapon station, shoot to kill.
Shoot to kill!
Shoot to kill!
And we're back. Mm-hmm. So, the Iron Claw.
Yes. So we were talking about families of wrestling, and there are families that do have, this is kind of their jive, their business, and they certainly made a lot of money out of it, promoting it and starting businesses and starting wrestling promotions and that type of thing. So this movie really centered around one particular family, the Von Erich family. And I just want to warn listeners right now that there's probably going to be some spoilers. So if they haven't watched the movie, they should probably go and watch it if they don't want any spoilers. Maybe
good
put
call.
this on pause and kind of go watch the movie first. And I do recommend anybody watch the movie. I thought it was very well done. So this does follow the last sort of remaining family member of the Von Erich family, Kevin Von Erich, and he had quite the story.
He did. And I knew nothing about it. Mm-hmm. And you said, we're going to go watch this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, it's your turn to pick the movie.
Sure.
So let's do that.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what was happening going in.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on a true story. I assume some of it might have been fictionalized, but who knows what.
Yeah.
But it was actually quite enjoyable. Mm-hmm. It was good. The guy who played the main character, Kevin, was Zac Efron, and he's been all bulked up and stuff. Mm-hmm. His performance was understated. He kind of reminded me of Joaquin Phoenix in The Joker.
Okay.
And I kept expecting him to go off and lose it, but he never did.
Right.
It was just one of those performance things that was kind of quirky.
Mm-hmm. What was really amazing was that as I was watching the credits, and I kind of hung back after the movie and I was watching more of the credits because I was very, very interested in who actually worked behind the scenes on this film. So I was pleasantly surprised to know that actually a member of another family of wrestling, Chavo Guerrero Jr., was the one who sort of trained the guys who played as the Kevin and the brothers to be in the ring and their moves and that type of thing. I thought everything was very well done. I have to say the gentleman who also played Kerry Von Erich, who was he wrestled under the name of the Texas Tornado. He was Intercontinental Champion and all kinds. He did a very good job. Seemed like he started out in the Olympics in
Shot put or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the actor who played him would have made a great Hobbit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think he did a great job. I think probably what got me the most was towards the ending after Kerry Von Erich, who shot himself, and he actually did shoot himself in real life. That was factual. on his dad's ranch. That is exactly how it happened, but he was in a boat and I couldn't figure out why, and he had a quarter with him, and he saw his brothers kind of sitting at the...
That was the afterlife.
at the dock, and they welcomed him and said, you're here, and they all hugged each other, and then they were also looking for their older brother, who apparently died when he was very young.
Like 5 years old or something.
Yeah, he looked very, very young, which that's true as well from everything that I read and all the research I kind of did. It was quite nice. It was very well done.
So you enjoyed it?
I did.
And you're glad we saw it at the theater?
Yeah. Well, the seats here in Sault Ste. Marie are kind of very uncomfortable.
They are.
Yeah. I really think that's one of the downfalls of the Sault Ste. Marie theater.
Yes.
Yeah, the seats are not comfortable.
That was about the only good thing about Timmins. They had the recliner seats with the cup holders and the leather and the
Right.
recliner and all that stuff. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
But we sat through it. It wasn't too horrible. We had popcorn and pop and all that good stuff. And you enjoyed it.
I did. I found myself very immersed in their life, in everything. Like, I wanted to know more. What was going on now? What was happening now? And how, what was going to turn out and all that. Yeah.
And I gotta say, the parents, I didn't like them at all.
No.
No, not very loving and just awful people.
Really?
That was my impression.
Very standoffish, I found.
Yes.
Very,
Yeah.
separate. Yeah. It was more about, and I think I have to say that the movie was probably more focused on the perception of Kevin Von Erich anyways.
Of course.
So, whether or not his parents were like that, that's obviously was his perception
That's right.
of how they were.
Exactly, because he's the only one left.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see that his marriage lasted for the last 40 years plus. So that was good.
And he got what he wanted. It's very predominant in the trailers and that type of thing. He does say, let's buy a ranch and all my family can move in with us. And, he obviously wanted his family close, and family was very, very important to him. And if you research the Von Erich family now, and especially Kevin Von Erich, he got what he wanted. His family all lived on a ranch with him.
Exactly.
It was just, obviously, it was his family. It wasn't the family that he made with his wife.
And their kids.
Yeah, and their kids. It was not...
Not the brothers,
Yeah.
because tragedy and stuff.
Yeah.
No spoilers there, but...
Yeah, no spoilers there. But
Not a happy story.
no,
the
it
most
was
part.
not. It was very tragic for the entire family. Interestingly enough, and spoiler alert for anybody out there, they did leave out the story of another brother. There was one more that they kind of left him out, and I think it was because it was kind of a repeat of everything that happened to the other, to two of the other ones, which is he killed himself. And anybody who researches the Von Erich family, you're certainly going to know all of this anyways. But they very, very tragic for the entire family.
So it wasn't a feel-good movie, but it was very well done.
It was very well done. I found it very, very well done. And I was very happy I was able to see it.
Good.
Yeah.
What would you give it out of 10?
Ooh, out of 10, I would say it was a 9. And I had the one downfall I found was that the people who were supposed to play younger wrestlers, so there was a young Ric Flair there, for instance.
Right.
I really didn't find that guy did his research very well. You can really find a lot of videos and other footage of Ric Flair and who Ric Flair was, especially in the ring. And this guy had to cut a promo as a young Ric Flair, and he really didn't even get the woo very well, so it was a terrible... He didn't do a great job.
No, but overall,
Yeah.
it was a good movie.
Overall, it was definitely a very, very good movie.
And we enjoyed it.
I did. I very much so enjoyed it.
Very good.
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I would say it was good.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it, but I wasn't bored.
Well, and that's kind of what I was interested in, is what your perception was of it coming into it as somebody who is not a huge wrestling fan, or you don't know a ton about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so it was good.
Good.
I would recommend it.
Yeah? Would you would recommend it to
Anybody,
anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah.
for sure.
If you're an overly sensitive person, I would say make sure you bring tissues with you, because it could be
Oh, yeah.
a tearjerker.
Yeah, it's not a feel-good movie, and there's lots of tragedy in it, but if you're desensitized to things like that, then go watch it. Yeah, The Iron Claw, now in theaters.
Now in theaters.
All right, so that's episode 311.
Well, I'm glad we were able to get this one out because you're not feeling very well. So who knows if and when we'll get the next episode out.
Well, that's right, because we're going to sign off and I'm going to go to bed because that's enough now.
Okay, you've had enough of it.
I'm all done.
Oh, you're all done.
All done.
You're all done.
Yep. So, listeners, thanks for coming by the Soul Forge and having a listen. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I can't even think right now, so I'm pretty much done. But take care of yourselves and each other. And until next time, remember, when setting out on a journey, do not seek advice from those who have never left home. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing could ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
Morning.
Pants tomorrow, please, David.
Carrie, I want you to join your brothers in the ring.
Yes, sir. I love that.
Woo! Now, we all know Carrie's my favorite, then Kev, then David, then Mike. But the rankings can always change.
What do you want in life, Kevin Von Erich?
More ribs?
I want to be with my family. You know, be with my brothers.
What do you like to do with your brothers?
Together, we can do anything.
We're here to restore justice to the Wrestling Federation that our father built with his own two hands. The hands that were passed down to us. The hands that will deliver the Iron Claw to you.
So what do you think? Like we're alive.
I love your family, Kevin.
You gonna be an uncle? Yes, sir. Oh, man, that makes me so happy. I'll talk to you about something, Mom. Dad's too tough on us. You gotta say something.
Baby, that's what your brothers are for.
Feel that? You feel that? That's pressure.
I mean, you're pushing too hard. I'm fine, Kev. Seriously, I'm just sick.
I'm scared, man. It all out of control.
That's a terrible accident.
I should have stopped him. I need to think about my family.
Your job is to wrestle. Live up to that deal, or we are through.
I told you to look out for him!
I just love being out there with you guys. It's the only thing that matters to me.
The Bonner will forever be the greatest family in the history of wrestling!
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.